All right, thank you for joining the Sideline podcast. I'm Zack, Mark, and we've got Scott. We've got a couple special guests today joining us. We have Donnie Warren here in studio and Mr. Russ Grimm joining us virtually, two legendary members of the former Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders. So we're here to talk some football. Mr. Warren, thank you for being here with us. Mr. Grimm, thank you. First off, let's talk a little bit just about Super Bowls. All right, we're going to start there. We're going to start Super Bowls, right? The experience. You got these rings. This, for me, this is kind of a cool thing to see here in studio. So we're going to talk about that and the whole process. We just wrapped up the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago. So the whole process of going to the Super Bowl and kind of leading up to it. Talk a little bit about that, gentlemen.
Well, I'm pretty much like Russ. I played in 4 Super Bowls, won 3, and it was a great experience. And plus, I get the hardware to match. I can't wear all 3 of them because if I wear 2 on one hand, it makes me walk in a circle.
That's a good problem to have, right?
So I try just to, I wear the latest 2 is what I do, So what do you think, Russ?
I mean, those memories you have forever. I mean, every time I think of some of those games, it's amazing. I can still remember a lot. The thing you miss about when you retire, you don't miss the playing anymore because obviously your body can't handle the hits, but you miss the camaraderie, the guys, the stuff that goes on in the locker room after the games, during the game. So you have those memories forever. And Super Bowls will always be a big memory, except the one in '83 when we got killed by the Raiders.
We were talking earlier, Russ, and you'll probably, for Redskin fans like Scott and I growing up, and we're all in about the same age group, we remember where we were and what we were doing when John Riggins broke off that run. It's 4th and 1 in the Super Bowl. And we were sitting here talking to Donnie, and I'm just wondering what you guys thought. Here you are in the huddle, and it is, and from our perspective, it was great. It's just a party time after that. But I'm curious to know what happened in the huddle just before that play. What was that discussion like?
Well, I mean, hey, everybody bear down, do your job, let's get it done. But, you have, with Riggo in the backfield, you always had confidence to go for it on 4th and 1.
Yeah, but I told him this, Russ. I don't know if you remember. My ankle was hurting me, and so they ran 70 chip, and they brought Dids in. And what did you say to Dids?
Yep.
What did you say to Dids when he came in the huddle?
Well, you went out. I think you were hurt on that play, right?
But I was on the backside. So they.
Oh, you're on the backside.
Yeah, I was on the backside.
So we put the 3 tight ends in, and Clint Didier comes in, and he's in a huddle, and they said, now entering the game, number, I don't know, what was his number? 86, Clint Didier. And I said, hey, Ditz. And he's all smiles and looking around in the huddle. I said, hey, Ditz, do not, whatever you do, don't screw this up. And he actually did a good job. He ran a good fake motion. The DB slipped down. And, people didn't realize John's a fast running back.
Yeah.
I mean, he held the state record in Kansas at the 100 meters.
Oh, man, I didn't know that.
High school or something like that. But you just didn't see it all the time because he didn't do any wiggling and stuff like that. But straight line speed, he could run now. That was one of the best feelings in the world.
Yep.
I imagine when you guys saw him, when he's running to the end zone, that must have been pretty cool from your vantage point anyway.
That's probably the only time I ran 40 yards.
That poster's kind of everywhere. You go to people's houses in their basements and their bars. That poster of Riggins just kind of breaking through and
he's got a jersey. His guys latched onto his jersey. I forgot which defender that was.
Yeah,
and Riggo now is just kind of like a figment of your imagination. He's lost a lot of weight. I was telling these guys he's probably lost 30 pounds, Russ, somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably 30 pounds. But he still looks good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Some of us need to lose 30 pounds.
Yeah, tell me about it. So tell me about this. Like the Hogs and your group, you guys it seems from the outside looking in that you guys were particularly a super close-knit group. you know. And so, and obviously with you and Russ, you guys are good friends, and like, it's also you guys stay together. You guys, how you guys stay in contact with each other?
Yeah, we talk. We talk. Go ahead.
We call each other. We call or text probably at least once a week. Just make sure everybody's staying in touch and see what everybody's doing. How's the family doing, health wise, kids, everything else. But yeah, that's the thing you build, the camaraderie and stuff like that. And I mean, some of the best moments were, I still remember at Fireside. We'd go 2 days in practice in that heat, and it was so hot out there, and everybody would go. Bukes would always say, "Hey, you guys want to run a little bit after practice?" No, coach, we're dead tired. And they'd call practice, and that was it. Everybody would sprint to the locker room, take the quickest shower, be out of there in 5 minutes, and head to Fireside so we can have a couple cold ones.
Well, we understand that you were the president of the 5 o'clock club. Is that is that rumor true?
Maybe I'm probably acting president when I was there, but Rigo was the leader, as you want to say. But Rigo just had I was somebody that made sure the beer was there and everybody else, and we were all good to go.
So, quick story about the Fireside, real quick. We go there, we invite Dave Butts, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And Russ always starts out at the Fireside, and he says, hey, he goes, we're getting a case of long necks. And we don't have that much time. We got about an hour, okay? And there's about 6, 7 people there. And so Butsy sits down, and he goes, hey, I'll just warm things up. And he takes it and takes 2 bottles of beer, goes like this, and just as fast as he's pouring the beer, it's going down his gullet. And so we're like going, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. So right after that, like 2 minutes later, a fire breaks out in the kitchen. Smoke is just bellowing out, and it's coming, and it's filling the room. And there's only about 2 or 3 tables that are full, and one of them's us, and we got a case of beer. And Russ, he won't let anybody leave until the beer is gone. So we're sitting there, and the smoke is getting lower and lower, and they call the fire department. So I can hear the truck. I go, Russ, fire department's coming, dude. I mean, they're coming. And the smoke is getting lower and lower, and we're drinking beer, and we're down like this, and the smoke is like right here. And then you can hear the fire truck pull up. The guy comes out, he's got a mask, he's got a gas mask on, he's got a pick, he's got everything, the chief. And he opens the door, and he sees us, and we're all down like this drinking beer, and he goes, guys, you got to get the hell out of here.
We got to drink beer first.
We're going, Russ goes, we got to finish this beer first. He goes, you're not finishing the rest of that beer. You got to get out of here. So we took the beer and exited.
Did you finish it elsewhere?
Of course.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
No man left behind.
No beer left behind. That's for sure. Good. I love that.
There was no flames. It was just smoke.
Nobody's in any danger, right?
Exactly.
No.
That's great.
Was there a specific moment that you guys realized, or that it clicked, that you guys weren't just good, but that you were great or legendary in that group of the Hogs? Is there some moment that stood out where it separated it for you guys?
For me, it was just all the winning. I mean, you just started racking up wins and wins and wins and wins, and then you get a year like with Mark Rippon, where he only had 9 sacks all year. I mean, all the wins, that you're doing something right. Mm-hmm. You're pounding the ball, you're wearing people down, and I mean, nothing but wins. You're doing things right.
The thing I loved about it was, we started out in '81, my rookie year. We go 0-5, and then we finish up 8-8. So we were looking forward to '82, And then the strike kind of hit in '82 and stuff like that, so we missed some games there. But it was the preseason. I mean, I think we won 2 Super Bowls. We were 0-4 in preseason.
Yes.
Am I right, Donnie?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yep.
But we'd go into the preseason game, and I'd look at the game plan, and there'd be like 4 runs, 8 total. 4 runs, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And then there was maybe 5 passes. And we'd be getting screamed at after the game, we got to do better than this. And I'm thinking, how about give us some more plays? Well, after a while, I figured out why. Joe didn't want us to win in preseason. He didn't want us to give it any type of false security. He wanted to make sure every play was run to perfection.
Exactly.
And there was no mistakes on anything. So, yeah. I mean, it was like after a while, we got, after we were there for a few years, we started looking, oh, here comes the game plan preseason. How many plays you think? We pass and run, maybe 10. Come on. During the season, we had like 60.
Wow.
So there was 2 run plays, 60 counter tray and 70 counter tray, and we never ran 70 because they always wanted Russ pulling.
Yeah. The counter tray, right? Is that you guys made that famous for sure?
Yep.
And I remember as a kid, I didn't know what the hell the counter tray was, but I sure liked it when you guys ran it because it seemed to work well. So
Yeah, it did.
yeah, y'all made that famous.
Russ, I'm curious, of all the defensive
I love that play.
of all the defensive linemen that you've played against in your life, is there one or two that stand out as you never want to see them again in front of you? Is
Dutton.
Please, don't even start. I would say, people always ask me that all the time. I'd say Randy White for one, because Randy was like in his 5th year when my rookie year, and I started as a rookie, and I missed the last game of preseason because I had a sprained ankle, so I didn't play in that, and then I was thinking I'm going to get cut, and then Joe Bugle comes down to the locker room, and they're cutting people, and he goes, Grimmy, he goes, you're starting this week, Monday night. And I'm thinking, oh, yes. And then I went, I said, against Randy? And he goes, I imagine that's who's going to be over there. No, he was a hell of a player. And my second guy, and people don't even realize it because the guy passed away early. He was in a car wreck down in Miami, was the big D tackle from Philadelphia. I forget his name.
No, Reggie White.
He come out of Miami. He was killed.
No, it wasn't Reggie.
No,
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
he got killed in a car wreck.
Brown. Was it Brown? Oh, what was his
It might
Yes.
have been Brown.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was Brown. Was his last name? I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, he played alongside Reggie. I
Yeah,
think.
he played the other tackle on my side. Reggie usually played on the right. So, or if they went solid, Reggie, they'd put him over Boss on the nose. So, yeah, I didn't see Reggie that much. Randy White, the fridge was a load when I played against him in '85. Because Bukes comes in, he goes, I watched this guy on film. He goes, you need to short set him. I said, you think? I said, I ain't dropping back a yard or two and giving him a run. So,
I think I look back at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome because I feel like Joe Bugle. I mean, he's a character again, looking from the outside in, and I didn't realize he was a little bit shorter in stature because Don was telling us some stories before when we were chatting here, but he always seemed like kind of like almost like a drill sergeant type of guy out there. I mean, tell me about working with him. He's kind of leader of your gang.
Well, Russ could probably tell you more than me because he was. I could hear it though because they were in the room right next to me, and when things went bad, he would like turn off the lights and start throwing films against the screen, and you'd hear it. He'd just start. He was raging, and we were going, "Oh, Buggs is pissed off. He's pissed off." And Russ and those guys, they'd have films going right over their head.
hey, I can't tell you how many times when I was a rookie or a second-year player that I laid in bed and dreamed of how I'm going to put a bomb in his car or cut his brake lines or something. No. Hey, but some of the best coaches I've had, you've hated them when you played for them, but as you went on, you ended up loving them and appreciated what they gave you as a player and education and stuff about life and stuff like that. And yeah, Buggs was like a stepdad to all of us in there. He was a great guy.
And I told you, I learned more from Buggs than I learned from anybody that coached me ever. NFL, high school, college. The guy was a technician, and I mean he had it all down, and it showed. You know, when we came off the ball, you know, people were feeling it. They were feeling the aggression. So he's just a guy that, man, you wish you had him as a coach in the NFL.
Yeah. And I mean, then you got, I guess the counterpoint to that is Joe Gibbs. He seems so calm and collective and kind of just always level-headed from the outside looking in. Tell us about Joe. I mean, legend around here.
Yeah, Joe was, he never cussed. He wouldn't say ass. He'd always say butt. And he would never cuss or anything. The worst thing I ever saw him do was break an overhead projector with his fist. And, you know, he put his fist through an overhead projector, and he was pretty pissed off. But other than that, you respected the guy so much because you would hear stories, and Russ will tell you this, that he didn't go to sleep at night. He would stay up, and they would talk about a play at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He'd have Rennie and him and some other coaches, and he'd have them up, and he'd be like, what can we do with this? There was no stone unturned with his cat. And that goes with Buggs too. You knew, like when I went into a game, and I know Russ will tell you, when I went into a game, I knew everything that they could pull on us. And in no time did they ever come up with something that we hadn't worked on.
Wow. So, yeah.
You know, I am curious.
The best thing about Coach Gibbs, and I still stay in touch with him. I know Donnie does too, but the best thing about Coach Gibbs was his ability to put some hellraisers, some guys that ran the streets at night, some Bible class guys, how to put the best 45 on the field. It didn't matter if you were drafted. I know one time we drafted, I think some guy in the first or second round, we ended up cutting him in training camp.
Wow.
Who would do that?
And it was, he always said, if a guy runs 4.4, he better run 4.4 every time. I don't want a guy that's only going to run 4.4 one time. I don't want a guy that's only going to hit you once. I want a guy that's consistent for the way he plays, so I know what I'm getting. And it was that. And then we had a bunch of guys, Donnie included, that kind of monitored the locker room. So you knew if guys were getting out of line or running the streets a little bit too much, and you would tend to say something before it got out of control where it had to go up to the coaching ranks.
That's a good way to have it done. I can tell you that. Get some veteran guys like you guys in there, kind of first line of defense.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking that I was curious. We had Will Montgomery and who was the Logan Paulson in here?
Yeah.
And they were talking about all the techniques that you guys as linemen used. And I had no idea. Most of us, of course, I'm 5'9", 170 pounds, so I had no idea what offensive linemen do. And just watching the technique when they showed it, and he was talking about watching film until his eyes bled. He knew every player, what they were going to do. He knew how he was going to attack this, how he was going to move diagonally. He went on and on. Gave me a whole new appreciation for what you guys do, and I wonder if that was the same way that it was back then. Because you guys didn't have all the film to the degree that we have now. They have ISO on players at every game, high school, right?
No, it was exactly the same way. We would go in, we would study film, for hours. And we would watch, like in the last Super Bowl, not the last one, but the Denver one. I forget the end. It might have been Egloff or somebody like that. That we noticed that he was putting his opposite hand down and he was going inside, And I mean, he did it the whole game long in the Super Bowl. And of course, nobody's going, "Hey, watch out! Hey, he's going inside." I mean, everybody would just keep their mouths shut and be professional. And we knew he was going inside, and he did it every time. But that's the stuff, the hours and hours of film watching that we used to do it there, and it was reel to reel, man. Wow. And then towards the end of it, it got to be tape, but it was reel to reel when I was in there. I don't know about Russ. I think Russ got it in there a little earlier.
Not that much. But I mean, if you have the right technique and you perfect it, you can use it against anybody. I mean, there's certain moves like Reggie always had and I coached when I was coaching with the Redskins, I had John Jansen and Chris Samuels, and we were playing Philly, and Reggie was still playing for Philly then, and he'd always use that hump move where it'd fake like he's going to arm rip to the outside, but then he'd come back and club you on the inside. I had John Jansen. I said, "John, look," I said, "don't worry about that. Just keep your left elbow tight." I said, "So if he can't get under your left arm, he ain't going to be able to lift you." So all week long, I had strapped down his left arm for pass protection. And sure enough, it worked. Do you lift that left arm up, he's going to toss you. And Dutch will tell you, sometimes you'll get tossed.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Especially by Reggie White. I would say, yeah.
Well, Reggie was a different breed now. Like, for me, and I ended up blocking him, but most of the time I was just chipping him. But he was a different breed now. I would much rather, and I don't know if Russ can say this, I would much rather run block the cat because he would pretty much stand straight up and run, but then pass pro him. Because pass pro, he was just, his ass was this wide. Wow. And his legs were this wide. And once he got momentum going forward, he was a beast. He was a beast.
So back on technique-wise, we drafted Mark Shareth. Came in and played, had a hell of a career, like towards the end there. So the first time he says to me, he said, "Russ," he said, "what's the first thing you think about when you leave the huddle?" He said, "What's the first thing you look at?" He said, "What the defense is in, who's over you?" No, I says, "Wrong." He's going, "Well, I look and see if they're solid." I said, "Nope." I look to see where the safety. I said, "Nope." I said, "You look to see where the umpire is." Because back then the umpire was behind the defense. If you're playing right guard and the umpire's on the left side, you can grab with your right hand because he ain't going to see it. But now they put them both in the backfield. But back then you had him standing right in the middle, behind the center, somewhere behind the defensive line. Yeah, you look where he was. If he was over there, I could grab a little bit with the left hand.
That's smart right there. Yeah, it is.
Find every advantage you can.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to kind of pivot. I think one of the great things about the Redskins when you guys were there is the 3 Super Bowls, obviously. 3 different quarterbacks, 3 different runs. Obviously, the 91 team is one of the best teams that's ever played in the NFL. Tell me about the differences in those 3 teams. A lot of the same personnel went through the ranks, but there's also different personnel.
Russ was coaching that game,
In 92. 91.
91.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were coaching then, Russ. Yeah, so.
Yeah, he coached me.
No, not yet.
Weren't you?
I coached you my last year was 91. Okay. I played in the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
But I retired after that year, and then Joe called me up and asked me what I was doing, and I said, "I'm not looking for a job yet." And he said, "Would you like to come back and coach?" I said, "I hadn't even thought about coaching." He said, "Coach what?" And I said, "The tight ends." And I said, "Well, where's Rennie going?" "Rennie's going over to the receivers." I said, "Well, where's Jerry Rum going?" "Oh, Jerry's leaving us for Minnesota." So, the tight ends back there basically was a glorified offensive line.
Exactly.
Most of the time, Donnie had to block. Dutch is the only guy that the longer he played, the lower he dropped on the catch rate. I mean, he's still playing, and guys were passing him just coming into the league.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, so those Super Bowls, I mean, that's a good run. 3 different quarterbacks. I'm not going to ask you to rank them 1 through 3 and what you think, because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But having 3 different quarterbacks is a testament to the offensive line, I think, that you guys could block that well and still win with 3 different quarterbacks. And
yeah, I think, like you said, having all those different quarterbacks and I mentioned the sack rate. We only had 9 total sacks in RIP, and what was it, 91 or whatever. We only had 9 sacks all year. That's got to be a record or something. But
it's probably up there. The record, the one record we have that a lot of people. I mean, you got to look at all the stats, but the one record is the '83 team. I think we were plus 41
on the
on turnover ratios.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll never be broken.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. I didn't know that. That is crazy.
And we were kicking everybody's butt too, because of that.
Yeah, we lost 2 games that year. I think each of them by 1 point or something.
Yeah, that's a good run. That's for
but
sure.
also, let's get real. We had a bunch of smart players. Smart players.
There you go. Maybe not the Hogs, but some of you, right?
No, the Hogs are a lot smarter than you guys think.
No, I'm just kidding. You guys had a cast of characters, not just the Hogs. I know we're focusing on that, but throughout the team, I mean, kind of over the years, you had the Fun Bunch, you had Dexter Manley, you had Charles Mann. I mean, you had a lot of people that were like kind of big personalities on the team itself.
Yep, we did.
Scott, if you go back and look at some of those films, I think the '83 team, either the '82 or '83, I think it was '83 because I don't think we drafted Charles till '83. But if you remember, on the punt team, the 2 gunners were Dexter Manley and Charles Mann.
Wow, really?
On the punt team, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they would never do that now. Man, that's crazy.
Because those guys turned in to be good pass rushers.
Yeah.
One thing I will warn you about Dexter, if you ever see him and you ever meet him, do not shake his hand.
Why's that?
He will break it. He's one of the strongest guys. It's always a fist bump. With me, it's always a fist bump.
That's awesome. Yeah, great cast of characters in that time.
So for you guys, you obviously went into coaching and everything after your playing days and some scouting. What was the toughest part of that transition from playing and being involved in it every day? Obviously, coaching, you're still involved in every day. But what was the toughest transition going from being the player to getting into coaching, scouting, and your retirement?
Well, scouting was nothing but computer right in front of me, watching plays. Coaching, you're going to ask Russ about that. But it was just tedious and a lot of travel. I mean, I don't think I ever got a day off when I was scouting. Pretty much it was 3 months or so of just, flying all over the country, scouting different teams, different players. And I mean, Russ will be able to tell you a little bit different with his coaching wise, but
all right. First off, let's stop right there. Scouting. You fly all over the place. You get to go to Hula Bowl in Hawaii. They put you up in nice resorts.
No.
They pick up your meals and everything. Donnie, don't go there. You loved it. It was like this. He would be, I'm sorry, Irene, I have to go out of town for 4 days. I got to go to Florida and then out to California and up to Cincinnati, and then I'll be back. And he's like acting like he can't get out of there. And as soon as he shuts the door, he takes off running.
That's not true. That's not true.
Coaching's a little bit different. But I actually, as a player, I was never nervous because I knew if I was ready, I knew what to handle and stuff like that. As a coach, and I coached offensive line, so I'm in charge of at least 5 guys on the field. And I used to sit there at night going, okay, is this guy ready? Is this guy ready? And I would get mad in meetings if I seen some guy not taking notes or stuff like that. I would check their notebooks after they left for lunch, for a break and stuff like that. I'd look down and see if they had everything written down. They'd come back in the meeting. I said, hey, what are you doing this? Oh, you didn't write that down. Why didn't you write it down?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're a little bit more nervous as a coach. I mean, is that the right decision? Should I went for it? Should I started the other guy? Does this guy know what to do? So yeah, it had me a little bit more worried than when I was a player.
That's interesting. I would have thought otherwise. I would have thought that as a player you were much more nervous, but I guess you know your capability and your job, so it's as a coach,
Right.
it's always you're banking on somebody else's capability and job.
You really don't get
Exactly.
you really don't get that nervous if you're prepared, like Russ said. As long as you know you're prepared, then it's just out there and just battle your ass off. Give it everything you got. I always knew that if I was ever tired, I'd stick my hand up and they might come jogging on, but then they're going to turn around and jog back because I'm going to wave them off because I'm going to stay in there. But that's the way it was.
I was going to say, did you ever do that? Did you ever raise your hand and say, I want to come out?
Hell no. I can remember times when, it'd always be fourth quarter and I'd look to the side and Russ would be going, jog it down. And it's switching quarters and you had to jog like all the way down. And I was like, God, my heart's pounding out of my chest, and I'm going, God, can't we just walk?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got like 2 minutes of commercials. You can walk that far. And a coach always, you need to sprint down to the other end, make it look like you're still in the No, I'm tired. I'm walking.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that, the walking versus the running for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Russ, back to the coaching thing a little bit. I mean, you had a pretty long, distinguished coaching career. How's coaching changed since when you started coaching? I guess you said in '92, right? To now, I feel like it's almost a different job for the coaches now. 35 years later, it's so much dealing with BS. Yeah.
Well, actually, Joe Gibbs started all the like off-season programs. He was like one of the first coaches because when I first got to the Redskins in '81, the season would be over. You wouldn't see guys for 4 or 5 months. Some guys had off-season jobs.
Huh.
And Coach Gibbs always wanted people to live in the area so he can monitor if you're coming in, working out and stuff like that. And I mean, he got upset if you didn't come back to minicamp. I mean, if you came back at minicamp, you better be ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of the most remarkable things to me, even as a fan, just watching these guys and working with kids like we do, that they show up, even at high school, as you probably found, they'll show up in February 20th, because they've got their workouts. And on the soccer side, I was coaching in high school, and they show up and they're not fit. And I just wonder what happened with us as parents and coaches, that where is the aspiration on their part to think, I'm going to get there and I'm going to be fit, I'm going to be ready because I want to make the team. Now and we hear it all the time from coaches now that they just don't have that. It's almost as though there's no accountability on these kids. So I don't know if that was anything. It doesn't sound like it was even remotely part of your experience, is it?
No, it wasn't.
No, here's the thing on some of that stuff that really ticks me off with kids. I mean, my kids, most of them turned out to be pretty good athletes and stuff like that, but I never forced them to, hey, you need to go out and run. You need to do this. You need to do that. Nowadays they have programs for these kids. They take them to sports things and have tutors that work with them. And now they tell some of the kids that if you play this sport, you can't play this sport. I mean, let the kids have fun. They're growing up. Let them decide what they want to do. I mean, I hate when parents like want to try to live through their kids and they send them to all these camps And you sit there and go like, are they really sending them to the camp to help the kid out? Or are they sending them to get them out of their hair? Or maybe it's half and half. But I mean, when I grew up, I didn't go to any camps until I was like a senior in high school.
It worked out well for you.
Now they got them at
I mean,
12,
you think
13 years
about it now.
old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, not to the extent that they have now. I mean, I know, which ticks me off on some, but some youth associations, and I know most of you guys are part of that and stuff like that, but if a kid wants to play basketball, then they tell him he can't do wrestling. Or if he wants to play soccer, he's not allowed to play baseball. And I'm like, you sit there and go like, what do you mean he can't play baseball? Let the kid play what he wants to play. If it overlaps a little bit, so what? But I mean, kids growing up are meant to have fun. And that's they wondered why today all the kids sit around on their cell phones or computer instead of, how many times you drive by the park and there's nobody at the basketball court or baseball field? When I grew up, if you weren't on the baseball field by 9 o'clock in the morning, you'd get picked on a team.
Yep.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. And that's always been a thing for me is these kids who are getting funneled into specific sports at such a young age. They're doing a disservice to the kid. I'm with you. Have some fun.
I mean,
Yes.
most,
Now, I mean, you look at, I mean, obviously it helps a lot of the kids because it gives them, stability and it teaches them, certain things that they need to be taught. But on the other hand, it takes away from the fun of being a kid. I mean, you don't see kids riding their bikes anymore. They sit at home and look on their computer and iPhone.
there's a lot of kids also that when I was, at Centerville High School and stuff like that, and I was coaching, there's a lot of kids that they would go out for baseball and they would say, man, I really want to go out for football, but my parents say, you should play summer baseball. And they would just do nothing but baseball. And they would, in some of them, they would come back because I was a baseball coach up there, and so they would come back and they would have a lot of bad habits that they got into from poor coaching in the summer league or whatever, and they were playing baseball all year round, I totally agree with Russ. I think kids should play every sport that they can play and all the way up and all the way through, and let things fall the way they fall.
People always say now, because, there's always issues about concussion and stuff like that. And, injuries in football, in any contact sport. But then you sit there and go like, you know what? Football is not a sport where you have to learn like the basics. There's no, where do I throw the ball if it's only one out and there's a guy on first and a guy on third? Do I hold the guy? There's not situations in football. It's blocking and tackling. I mean, I've seen guys, Sam Clancy, who's a hell of a basketball player at the University of Pittsburgh, never went out for football until his senior year. And Jackie asked him to come to spring ball because he thought he could play football. Sam was there for, I think, like maybe 2-3 days, and then he quit. And he was a hell of a basketball player. Then he went over to the Europe League, played basketball for a couple of years, came back, and Jackie Sherrill got Seattle to draft him as a defensive end in the league.
Wow.
And Sam came in the NFL. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, hey, you tackle the guy with the ball, you block the guy in front of you, you run with it, you catch it, you throw it. It's not, you don't have to know situations, stuff like that. You don't have to know different techniques and stuff. No, just beat the crap out of the guy across.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Right on.
In terms of that,
I had people tell me all the time, I walk up a lot of time and like you get young little kids, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm retired. Well, what did you used to do? I look at them right now and I said, they used to pay me to beat people up on Sundays. And the kids look, they get wide and they go, what? And I said, yeah, I played in the NFL. They used to pay me to beat people up on Sundays. It's basically what I did. I mean, and when you think about it, that's what you did. I mean, that's what you were paid to do.
When you go back and what's your all-time favorite memory Like, is there something? I mean, we talked about the Riggins run in the Super Bowl. Like, each of you guys, I don't know, one of you guys can go first. Like, something when you look back, what do you just kind of think about a lot? Like football or like camaraderie?
Go ahead, Russ.
I remember football-wise, it's Riggo's run because that was the first Super Bowl. I remember halftime at the Denver Super Bowl when they jumped up 10-0, and then it's 35-10 at halftime. And I tried to get Jaybird. I said, Jaybird, break out the hats. Jaybird was the equipment manager, so you knew he had all the world. You know he had all the Super Bowl hats ready to go. And then Riggo coming in afterwards. And I mean, he's had some great quotes over the years, but one of my favorites was, John would break up the sideline, and I mean, he wouldn't run out of bounds. I mean, he would put the hammer on somebody before going out of bounds. And they asked him one time, why don't you run out of bounds? He said, you're going to take a hit. There's nowhere to go. He says, number one, he said, they don't pay me to run out of bounds. He said, and number two, he said, it takes that much longer till we all get a beer. And I went, yeah, you're right, because the clock will keep running.
I love it.
And then you remember the stuff off the field too, like growing up, getting to know everybody's family, getting to know everybody's kids, playing at different high schools, some at the same high school, stuff like that. And then you end up going to kids' weddings. And I know Donnie knows because his son's married to Jimmy Lachey's daughter. So they probably talk a lot of football when they get together and remember this and remember that. And, of course, there's times that come up and we go, hey, you remember this? Hey, let's leave that one die. So.
Yeah. Definitely. Mine was probably the number one moment was, and I think Russ will remember this, is when we played Buffalo in the Super Bowl. And their defensive line coach was talking smack. And they were talking about how ugly Jacoby is and all this stuff. And he was snorting. He goes, "Oh, the Hogs," doing all this stuff, and we just went out there and whooped their ass. And that was one of the best feelings in the world. Just whooping their ass.
Yeah. That bulletin board. They gave you that bulletin board material.
They did. And Russ remembers that.
We saw Joe Gibbs had a video of it because it was done in an interview. He put the video on. The night before, we always have a team meeting. He goes over what needs to be done, the goals what we need to accomplish, what to do this. And he says, and I'll leave you on this before you go to snack and go to bed. And he put the video on, and we're seeing this guy just calling us a bunch of fat slobs and stuff like that. And we're kind of looking at each other go, oh, this needs to be taken care of tomorrow. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
When you bring up John Riggins, something that always, and still to this day when I watch all the video, that he always did after he scores a touchdown, unlike the guys today in today's world when there's dancing and there's also, he would just hand the ball to the referee. Yes. And I always thought that was pretty cool. Even to this day, I think that's cool.
Yeah, I remember one play. I remember one play about John. We were playing in Detroit, and he was running a gut or something, for like a 40 gut or 60 chip, one of the two, and a safety came up, and he hit this safety. He had the ball in his hand. And he hit the safety, and I swear to you, the safety's helmet went 20 feet in the air.
Wow.
It went straight up in the air because he just lowered his head and just ran through the kid. It went about 20 feet in the air, and I was like, holy cow, you got to be kidding me. And that thing came down and bounced about 3 times, and the kid was on his back just laying unconscious.
Oof.
Cool. And I was like, oh man, I'm glad that wasn't me.
Still to this day, I think that's one of the toughest guys I ever played with, John Riggins.
Yeah.
No question.
Without a doubt.
Well,
without a doubt.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think all of you guys are very likable to the public just because of your kind of no nonsense attitude. You know, I got to admit that I kind of like the beer drinking thing myself. That's kind of in the Scott Liskey way of life as well. So, and John Riggins was kind of the as you said, the El Presidente or whatever.
He was
of
the
that persona.
forefront of that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
no, it sounds like you guys were close, and I think the community was closer because of it. I mean, we all, to this day, we know. Look, when they changed the name, they said they were going to move from the Redskins. How many people like me said, wouldn't it be great to call them the Hogs? I mean, just make it easy. We don't have to do Washington Football Club or whatever it was. Let's just call them the Hogs.
Yeah.
So,
You talked about that camaraderie and everything, and we've talked off air, Mr. Warren, a little bit about how you guys handled something if one of your guys got a cheap shot or something. So you don't have to go into too much detail, but
I mean, Russell will tell you too. I mean, there was times also the camaraderie aspect of it all is there would be a guy picking on Jake, like he would swing, hit Jake in the stomach or something, or different guys that would just try to do little cheap shot things against you. And there's many a times that other than the quarterback, I know the whole offensive line and the tight ends were going after this dude, and it'd be bootsies on the guy. And there was quite a few times that happened that we were so close, and that's why we played the way we played, because we knew each other's wives, family, boys, girls, knew everything about their family. And when I first got there in the late 70s and I got drafted, we didn't know, everybody. We weren't able to because, these guys like Talby and Coy and Leaping Lamar Paris and Joe Lavender, they would come to work, and as soon as they were done with work, they would go home. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have beers together. They wouldn't, and that's kind of when they started the 5 o'clock club, and we started drinking beers together just so we could get close to each other, Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, there wasn't one other team that was as close as we were, especially on the offensive line.
That's great.
Hey, not only that, we go on strike and nobody crosses the line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We could talk about the Scabs all day long, but we won't go there in that season. I think we're remiss if we have Russ Grimm and we don't at least ask him like what it felt like when you were elected to the Hall of Fame. When was that? In 2010? Is that when I looked it up? That's pretty impressive.
2010.
We don't talk about it.
I mean, that was a special feeling, but like I said, and I said in my speech at the Hall of Fame, you don't get there by yourself. I mean, yeah, obviously you have to be on a winning team. Obviously you have to be pretty good because back then, I mean, offensive line, you didn't have any stats like nowadays. I mean, so I told the guy, I said it to speech. I said all the guys I played with: Donnie Warren, Rick, Doc Walker, Jacoby, Bostic, May, Stark, all those guys. I got a little label inside my Hall of Fame jacket that has all their names and initials on. So it doesn't say Donnie Warren; it just says Dutch. It doesn't say Joe Jacoby; it says Big Jake. It doesn't say Jeff Bostic; it says Boss. I mean, that's it. So because that's the way we kind of called each other, and I mean, some of the calls we had were kids' names, like that. You wouldn't say, "Hey, combo." I mean, you think that guy's that dumb? He doesn't know what a combo is between me and you. We would say like Dylan, or we'd say like Dave, or something like that. Which, it was a code word, so you can move them all around all the time. But yeah, that's what football's about. I said that in the beginning. The camaraderie is the thing you miss. Your body tells you when it's time to quit. When I first came in there, Ron Saul, bless his heart, he was in his I don't know, 10th, 11th year when I was my rookie year. And I was a starting left guard, and he was helping me with a lot of stuff. And I said to him one time, I said, hey, Ron, I said, when do you know when it's time to quit? And he says, your body will tell you. And I said, well, like, what do you mean? He says, you'll start out. He says, you'll play. He said, and you'll feel fine. He said, and then the next year you'll play, and you may have to sit in a tub a couple days on Monday. Then the next 2 years or so, maybe Monday and Tuesday. He said, when it goes from week to week, and you're still not feeling back to 100%, it's time to start thinking about retiring. And that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
Nobody wants to try to play longer when they know they can't play at the level that they're used to playing at. I mean, that's basically what it is. Now, if you want to hang on as a backup and you can live like that just because you want a job or something, but when you get to the point where you can't play the way you're used to and was capable of playing, then it's time you better start thinking about retiring. And I knew going into that last year, I knew I was going to retire because I think I started 4 or 5 games and I was out for 4 or 5 games. And then I played another game, was out another game. So you knew it was time. It's still to this day, the one thing that Donnie's still mad at me is time all the time. We put him on injury reserve. I had to make the decision to put Donnie Warren on injury reserve because he had a disc in his back of his neck. He couldn't turn his head, couldn't do anything. He'd still go out there and practice and try, but he couldn't play to the way he was used to playing. And I said, Donnie, you need to sit out for a while or do something. You can't play like that. And sometimes it takes like a friend or somebody to tell you the truth. Because a lot of times you look in the mirror and you try to fool yourself all the time. Oh, I can still do it. I can still do this. I can still do that. No, you can, but you can't do it to the same level that you're used to doing it at. And that's no way for anybody to go out.
True.
Yeah.
Except for Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Apparently he can come back and he's 87 or so. He can play at the same level.
That was amazing.
Well,
That
the
was
thing
crazy.
there was, Phillip said, because, I mean, I met him once or twice. He's a nice guy. But in his mind, he was saying, okay, I can't play like I used to play, but I know I can play better than what they got, is basically the decision that he had to make. And that's why he came back and played. And because he liked the Colts. And, I mean, that was his team. And I still think about it every now and then, but it's a quick spot. Now it's down to, can you just give me one more shot on the goal line? Can you do that? No, I can't even do that anymore. No.
That's fun.
Right on.
Scotty,
Yeah.
I think you might have a little trivia hiding in there. So, Russ, what we
more
like to
questions?
finish the show with every week is we have some
I'm gonna be
trivia,
bad at this.
football trivia for our guests. And Scotty's our guy. We have a little skit called "Did Scotty Make That Up?" And typically we're convinced he did, but in this case he's done his research.
Well, yeah, when I was walking here this morning, I came up with a question. I figured I got to come up with a question that's related to Donnie and Russ and so on. It's kind of hard to do because I think anything I came up with was going to seem very easy for them. But I came up with a historical Redskins question here is, what quarterback has started the most games for the Washington Redskins or Commanders in the franchise history?
Wow.
Anybody got a guess?
Should we let Donnie go first?
I would say Joe Theismann.
No.
What do you think, Russ?
I'm going to go with, I want to say Sammy Baugh, but that's too far back for you to know. But I'm going to say Billy Kilmer.
Nope. It is Joe Theismann.
Oh.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
You said you didn't think you'd know it.
I wasn't sure. I looked up the stats. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have all kind of started in the same amount, but Joe Theismann has about 20 more than Sonny Jurgensen is second.
Wow.
Yeah, I figured Sonny would be up there, but I thought Billy may have had more. Joe's surprising because his first year was, what, 79, 80? Or was it 81 when
79.
Gibbs?
No, it's 79.
Okay, so
and
79.
he got out of it, and he called it quits at like 84.
Yeah, 84 when he broke his leg. I think that was the last
Right.
game he played.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
Who was? I'll give you a trivia one. Who was the last person to catch a touchdown pass from Joe Theismann?
Ooh.
Donnie Warren.
Yeah, I was gonna say the trick question. It's Donnie Warren,
Right?
Yes, it is.
There we go.
Now that's pretty cool. So that was in that game. Well, was it in that game before he broke his leg?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was in that game. Yep.
That's a cool stat right there.
Yeah.
Did you
That's
know
good
that,
enough.
Russ?
Well, I figured it had to be close because Donnie didn't catch very many passes.
It's true.
Yeah. 7 touchdowns, though.
In fact, how many
All right.
games did you play? 1-9.
193.
How many receptions do you have?
I think it's 248, something like that.
So you
Two
average
something.
about 1.3 a game.
No.
Man, that is just that's
That's
rough
right.
to hear him getting after you for that. I mean, 100.
That's all right.
I'd go back to 193 games. Just focus on that.
That's all right. I got these.
You
So
know, he catches
everybody
in a touchdown.
everybody
The
can,
one thing,
you know.
the one thing I will say, and I don't know if you could find a stat, but the yards after catch. Who has the lowest yards after catch? In Redskin history.
Could it be Donnie Warren?
Hey, I would think so because one time I saw him catch a ball. He had a wide open field to the right. He turned to the left and just ran right into 2 guys.
That was in Dallas.
We're going to have our producers put a clip of that up right now. So when it's on the podcast, he's doing that, going right to the left. So they'll find that. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys for joining us. And taking
No
the
more
time.
trivia?
Well, he can't come up with too many.
Yeah, I'm not that smart.
But
I'm good
we
for
want
like
to take
1
the
or
chance
2.
to thank you guys. We really appreciate you joining us. Russ joining us from your house in Pennsylvania. Donnie for joining us on set. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. And for a guy that wasn't around for much of it, but follows sports pretty heavily, it's cool to hear from some of you legends like that. So I know it's even cooler for these guys that actually watched you guys in their prime. So thank you again for joining us. It means a lot to us here. For everybody
got
that's
it.
watched this, everybody
you,
that's
Russ.
watched us, follow
Take care,
us,
guys.
CYA Sideline Podcast, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Russ, where are you going? Have some beers?
I'll probably swing by the VFW this afternoon.
Nice.
Tell Cody Grimm you got a big Hokie fan you talked to today, and tell him good luck with the Raiders.
Now I'll tell him they got some work to do, especially in that
Hey, I love
division.
Brock Bowers. Yeah.
Especially in that division with what they got: San Diego, Denver, and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a tough one.
Well, they're going to have a quarterback now. It sounds like that quarterback is Mendoza's going to go there. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mendoza.
Yeah.
Yep. Now that's a sure thing.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Russ.
Russ.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Russ.
day. Appreciate your time. See ya.
Thanks, Russ. All right.
How'd you get the nickname Dutch? We were going to ask you.
Well, about I had long hair in college because I went to San Diego State, and so when I first got here,
Gonna take a picture before I sit here.
Rich Malott, I came in and I had
Picture of the 4 of us.
like cut the bangs and cut the back end kind of straight across. And he said I looked like a little Dutch boy. The guy in the paint can.
Yeah.
And that stuck. And then for basically 12 years, they called me Dutch.
Nice.
You know?
That's fun.
No.
That's
Can you
awesome.
get a picture of the 4 of us here, please? Thank you.
That is true. The Dutch boy can. You kind of did. We've seen your pictures when you were.
That's my fraternity nickname,
That's
Dutch.
funny.
We actually